my former teacher, Abram Shays, said, come back and be with me in the early years of the Kennedy administration. He was the legal advisor in the State Department, the chief lawyer. This was in '62. I arrived there on Cuba Monday, the day the Cuban Missile Crisis was announced, and didn't go home for 48 hours because the legal advisor had to draft a legal opinion of the validity in international law of a quarantine. Well, this is pretty heady stuff for a little kid. I loved being dean. I really got pleasure out of what I call institutional architecture. And that's what this was, building not just the physical, but building the institution. But as dean, one of my responsibilities was to look out 5 or 10 years and say, what's the legal horizon going to look like? And I, for the first time, I'm kind of embarrassed to say, really understood that a very large share of Americans were totally without legal services, that the legal system simply shortchanged poor people. And here I was, my mentor was Learned Hand, whose motto was, "Thou shalt not ration justice." And that's just what we were doing. So a new corporation, a federal corporation, was established with its support from Congress, but independent of the executive branch. But when I realized here was an entity doing exactly what I thought had to be done, I didn't have any choice but to apply. And I had the good fortune to be chosen. But it wasn't because I was leaving Stanford with anything other than great affection, and also with an expectation that I'd come back.
And what year was this now?
1975. This was a period in which I learned a lot about poor people in the U.S. I visited every single state in the union and legal services programs in all of them.
You've got your dream job. You're leading, creating, inventing this institution. And then you leave to join President Carter's administration.
Well, I would not have left except that I was asked by the president to do this job. I was asked because my good friend Warren Christopher, who was a major figure at Stanford at the law school, a wonderful human being and my very close friend, very supportive in legal services, recommended me to President Carter. And I thought here was a chance to focus on the lot of poor people throughout the world, as I had tried to do in terms of the United States. And here was a chance to work directly for the president.
Give me the job description of working for Carter.
Well, a new agency had just been created. And it had, Carter felt deeply, as he told me, that foreign aid had been too often used for walking around money for some sheikh. That was his term. That we should focus on long-term economic development on the one hand and human rights on the other. Human rights was one of the major pillars, signatures of the whole Carter foreign program. And he didn't believe that if the foreign policy of foreign aid was left inside the State Department, it could follow out his desired mandate. So a new agency was created, which had responsibility for AID, which is bilateral foreign aid, and in theory, all multilateral foreign aid policy. It's the only job I had that really wasn't fun. It was a great learning experience, and I loved working for Carter because I came to respect and admire him enormously. And I've been in and out of the government a number of times. I do believe passionately that public service is a noble calling, and that enabling students to understand why they could make a difference in civic affairs and how to make a difference in civic affairs were important things that I really could help them do for our democracy and for the students. And I view that as an integral part of liberal learning.